Manchester City. About 300 million has been spent over the past 8 months to get City back on track after a disastrous season by their standards. They finished a distant third and lost the FA Cup final, leaving them trophyless. Guardiola has indicated City need to adapt to the evolution of football, having struggled with the increase in physicality and fitness. There could be a greater emphasis on dribbling past opponents to try to open up the spaces. Ryan Cherky, Phil Foden, Jeremy Doku, and Savinho should be extremely important in a post-Kevin De Bruyne world. City struggled more than ever when it came to breaking down teams last season. Erling Haaland will be as dangerous as always, and Umar Marmoush will give them extra dimensions in attack. Pep Guardiola took last season personally, upset with himself and irritated by underperforming players. He will not accept a similar showing this season, especially after the sizable reshaping of the squad. Guardiola overhauled his coaching staff, the most eye-catching appointment being Jurgen Klopp's former number 2, Pep Lijnders, who joins as an assistant coach. The change in personnel will bring new ideas, something Guardiola was seeking as he sought a refresh on the pitch and in the dugout. Incomings for City this season are Tijani Reinders, Ryan Cherky, Ryan Ait-Nouri, James Trafford, and Gianluigi Donnarumma. The outgoings are Kevin De Bruyne. Now, Pep Guardiola is obviously an awesome coach. He has won countless major titles. He brought the UEFA Champions League to the Etihad, which for the oil clubs is the pinnacle of success and a testament to the success of the project, going from a small club to playing with the big boys. He also won the Premier League title 6 times, with 4 of them being back-to-back. But personally for me, now is the real test for Pep Guardiola. These are times as a manager when you separate yourselves from the good and the great and you move to the greatest, having success in different eras, successfully transitioning and evolving. Sir Alex Ferguson did just that with Manchester United. Now will Pep be able to move away from Pepism, that is the principles of Pep? Only time can answer that question, but I personally think yes, he will. He's not as dogmatic as some people might think. I predict Manchester City to finish third in the Premier League this season. Ones to watch from City this season are the electric Oscar Bob, the graceful and beautiful Ryan Cherky, and the engine, Tijani Reinders. Chelsea. I actually do like Chelsea. Chelsea has been through a rough couple of years after their Champions League winning season under Thomas Tuchel. But after securing Champions League qualification on the last game of the season last year, and then a surprisingly successful campaign in the Club World Cup, they seem to be getting their groove back. Enzo Maresca has done a great job bringing his Chelsea team back to winning ways. Maresca is big on playing strictly according to the tactics and less on vibes. This was seen to be successful against PSG, as his team was able to neutralize the PSG front three and create pockets of space for Cole Palmer to do his magic. Talking about Cole Palmer, I love him, and I have loved him for a long time, even before it was cool, and I have the receipts. Chelsea have brought in João Pedro, Jimmy Gittins, Jorel Hato, Liam Delap, and Estevao Willian. These are all exciting signings, especially Delap and Estevao. Estevao is widely regarded as the biggest talent to come out of Brazil since Vinicius Jr. Will he be able to reach that level? Only time can tell. Delap is a traditional number 9. He is swift in his movement and has the ability to bulldoze it through teams' defenses, and also has great link-up play. He's a one to watch. And Chelsea's outgoings are Joao Felix, Noni Madueke, and Kenan Dewsbury Hall. They probably won't hurt Chelsea much. I predict Chelsea to finish 4th this season. Chelsea have a strong team and a good coach, but they are young. Last season, the Conference League was a useful time to rest and rotate players, but the Champions League will not be so accommodating. Newcastle United. Now this summer was a funny one for Newcastle United. Hugo Ekitike, Brian Mbeumo, Benjamin Sesko, and Joao Pedro all opted to move to Liverpool, Manchester, and London respectively. But don't worry, the good news is that Eddie Howe is an excellent coach and has a group of high caliber players to work with. Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Nick Pope, and Anthony Gordon foremost among them. If you can't tell by the smile on my face, I love Newcastle. There's something about them. I love how they play as a unit. I love how they leave everything on the pitch. They defend with aggression, passion, valor, boldness, bravery, and some more similar adjectives. The players give their all on the pitch, week in, week out, almost as if their livelihood depends on the effort they put on the pitch. The incomings for Newcastle are Nick Woltemade, Anthony Elanga, Jacob Ramsey, Johan Wissa, Malik, and Aaron Ramsdale. The outgoings are the notorious Alexander Isak, Sean Longstaff, Callum Wilson, and Martin Dubravka. Talking about the team, the summer seems to have rejuvenated club hero and leader Kieran Trippier. The backline of two from Fabian Schär, Sven Portman and Dan Burn is solid as always, and Tino Livramento on the left is lovely as well. Tino is solid defensively as well as going forward. Then is the midfield of tanks Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton and Sandro Tonali. Personally, the best way to describe them is if Rolls-Royce made bulldozers. That's what they are. Then up front, there's a lot of quality to choose from. Anthony Gordon, Jacob Murphy, Harvey Barnes and Nick Woltemade and Johan Wissa. And then on the touchline are Batman and Robin, Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall. This will be a busy year for Newcastle and I feel like them not having much squad depth is something to worry about. A Champions League campaign beckons and there is the Carabao Cup to defend. I predict Newcastle to finish 6th in the Premier League this season. Ones to watch from here are Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall. Aston Villa. Aston Villa supporters collected some memorable postcards last year. There were memorable trips to Bern, Bruges, Leipzig, Paris and Monaco as Unai Emery's side enjoyed an thrilling ride to the Champions League quarter-finals. Even though Villa lost UEFA Champions League qualification on goal difference after a defeat on the last day of the season, there are plenty positives to take from last year. One in particular is Morgan Rogers. However, how much room is there to grow for Aston Villa? Emery's hunt for silverware goes on. Villa imploding in the Europa Conference League semi-finals 2 years ago, losing 6-2 on aggregate to Olympiacos, hurt, but now Emery returns to competition that he knows best, the UEFA Europa League. Villa have a solid team and a robot for a manager, led by Ollie Watkins and stabilized by the likes of Boubacar Kamara and Yuri Tielemans in midfield. I have no doubt that they can achieve great success. This season, Villa have remained mostly quiet in the transfer window. The only notable signing is that of Evan Gesson from Nice. He will support both in the striker and right attacking positions. One to watch from Aston Villa this season was supposed to be Jadon Philogene, but he left to join Ipswich. So I don't know what happened there. While seemingly dysfunctional at the moment, the moment I'm recording this video, I do believe the club has some quality players and I predict Aston Villa to finish 7th this season. Tottenham Hotspur. Ange Postecoglou ended Tottenham's 17-year wait for a major trophy by winning the Europa League last season. However, the team finished 7th in the Premier League that season and consequently Ange was sacked and Thomas Frank was brought in. The departure of captain Son Heung-min symbolized the end of an era for the North London team. There's plenty of work to do to make sure they're equipped to challenge on all fronts. Mohamed Kudus, Xavi Simons and João Palhinha should add some much needed bite and creativity to the team. Thomas Frank is an amazing manager. He comes off as a smart and calculated individual who constantly had an okay Brentford team punching well above their weight. It has been a summer of change for Tottenham as Daniel Levy has stepped down as Tottenham Hotspur Football Club's executive chairman with immediate effect after nearly 25 years at the club. In his place, Vinay Venkatesham has already joined as CEO and Peter Charrington will assume the newly created role of non-executive chairman. I believe this new era will be a successful one for Tottenham. Thomas Frank is a pragmatic coach who, while drills his way of play into players, but also is open to being flexible and changing the tactics according to the opponent. I believe this Spurs side now has the right players, right manager, and the right mindset. I predict Tottenham Hotspur to finish 5th in the Premier League this season. Ones to watch from Tottenham this season will be the Claw, João Palhinha, Lucas Perrywell, and Archie Gray. Nottingham Forest. I do not think there's much to say about Nottingham Forest since I already have a detailed video on them. However, times have changed and so have the manager. Forest sacked Nuno and signed Ange. Ange seems to be the antithesis of Nuno, so it will be interesting to see how it works out for the team this season. Ones to watch from Forest this season will be Elliot Anderson. I predict Nottingham Forest to finish 10th this season. Brighton. Although Brighton missed out on qualifying for Europe again, there was a sense of optimism rather than disappointment at the end of Fabian Hürzeler's first season at the helm. Brighton scored 66 goals, joined 5th highest for any team in the Premier League last season, but also conceded 59, the 7th highest for any team last season. The incomings this season have been Costualos and Maxim de Cooper. The outgoings are João Pedro and Simone Dengra and Pervis Estupinan. The team needs a long-term replacement for the veteran captain Louis Dunk as he enters the last year of his contract. Also, fun fact, Costualos is represented by the same agent that represents NBA superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo. One to watch from Brighton this season is your junior Rooter. He's an extremely talented and sharp-minded player. I think he might explode this season. Brighton's league position this season will depend on how successful they have been in strengthening their defense this season. I predict Brighton to finish 8th this season.